All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are talking about the Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers tonight. You guys have a home field advantage. It is Thursday Night Football. Big implications in this. It's a must win in the sense for both teams of playoff implications. Obviously, Detroit is they've won 10 straight games. Franchise record, tied the franchise record. They're 11-1 for the first time in franchise history. And Philadelphia is right behind them. Minnesota is right behind them. And with a loss to the Packers, they'd also be right behind them. So you want that number one seed. I've always said on this channel or any Lions video I've made, if the Detroit Lions get the number one seed in the NFC, it is going to be extremely difficult to take this team down. Now, we did see Green Bay win last Thanksgiving 1 year ago in Detroit. But I do just kind of want to get a preview here. One of you guys asked for a preview. I've never really done a preview on any channel before. We're going to do one here. And it just feels weird to do this because, as you guys know, I am a Green Bay Packers fan. But I appreciate you guys so much. There are some Lions fans that really do not appreciate. So I got to throw this in. And there are a lot of Lions fans watching these videos that do not appreciate I have this channel. But there's always a story to it. Anyways, moving into it. 24-14 win in Lambeau Field. I forget when that was. It was Sunday, November 3rd. This is a completely different Green Bay Packers team. It's also a different Detroit Lions team. They are way more decimated by injuries, yet they still just continue to win football games. And Green Bay's last loss was that football game on Sunday, November 3rd. So I guess it's been a month. Injuries are a big deal here. We'll just get through the injuries and then we'll talk about game plan. The Packers have ruled out cornerback Jaire Alexander, wide receiver Romeo Doubs, linebacker Edgerrin Cooper, and cornerback Corey Ballentine for this game. The Lions, unfortunately, have also ruled out tackle Taylor Decker, defensive lineman Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Paschal, and DJ Reader. Now, that's a big deal. Those last three are a really big deal, in my opinion, because Josh Jacobs is going to be a huge player to watch. Now, the Detroit Lions have a top 5 rushing attack. They have for like 3 years, 2.5 years, it feels like now. And you are missing a bunch of starters. DJ Reader, most notably, because this dude is an absolute beast. He had a great game against the Chicago Bears 1 week ago on Thanksgiving. If you can limit Josh, then it's looking good. But I will just tell you this. If you want a preview of this football game, I think it's going to be high scoring. I think the over-under was like 51.5. You're in a dome, big-time game, prime-time football. And the big thing to me is going to be the turnover battle. It really is as simple as that. When you go back to that, I wish I checked which week it was. When you go back to the first matchup, it was 17-0 at halftime. All right. And the main reason for it being 17-0 at halftime was because of a Jordan Love pick six where he does it a lot. I don't know what he was doing, but he threw it right to Kirby Joseph. Kirby Joseph, one of his 7 interceptions on the season, walks it in. Now, Detroit, that was a weird game because I could watch that game as a Packers fan and be like, all right, Detroit's the better football team. There's another level to this. Detroit, I do think the Packers can reach the Detroit Lions level in certain games, but they're extremely young and there's a level. There's a clear talent barrier, whether it's experience, coaching, you name it, quarterback play, whatever. Turnovers are just going to be the name of the game in divisional games specifically. But without that pick six, and I don't like playing what ifs, but because it's a preview, we'll just get into a what if. It was 10-3 right before halftime, before that pick six happened. And, the thought process for the Packers would be you go down the field and you at least put some points on the board. So maybe it could have been 10-6 heading into halftime. And then you have a completely different football game. But because the score was 17-3 at half, Jared Goff didn't need to do anything really. He only threw the football 22 times, 18-22, 145 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Now, Jordan Love technically threw for 273. He did not have a touchdown in that game, and he had the pick six. So football is a game of inches. 90% of NFL games are one-score games. And, like I said, I'm not trying to play what-if hypotheticals, but I'm just saying, as we know, if it wasn't for that pick six, that second half would have been completely different. So it's hard to really get a gauge of the Detroit Lions in that football game in the second half because it's not necessarily that they put their foot off the gas, but they, that fourth quarter, the Packers were definitely the better team, but you call games a little bit differently, like we alluded to with the Jared Goff reference. Both teams were horrible on third down. Detroit, maybe that's being a little bit unfair. Detroit was 4 of 12 on third downs. Green Bay was 3 of 12. One big thing that was a huge issue, honestly, for both teams, but mainly my Packers. The Packers had 10 penalties for 67 yards. Now, that has been cleaned up to a degree in our little win streak. Detroit had 5 penalties for 51 yards, but I don't think penalties will be a big deal. There was that one big thing where it was like, 4th and 7, and who was it? One of our TJ Slayton, Packers defensive tackle, he jumped, and it was clear that Detroit was just going to kick the field goal. They get TJ offsides, 4th and 2, they go for it, punch it in, right? It's going to be a game of inches, but to me, we could sit here and say the better quarterback will win. I don't think that is necessarily going to be true, but it might, coming down to turnovers. I think both teams are going to have a lot of success running the football. Tried to say the week again. In the first matchup, the Detroit Lions ran the ball 32 times for 124 yards and a touchdown from Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs had 11 carries for 65 yards. David Montgomery had 17 carries for 73 yards. Both defenses are really, really underrated, in my opinion. And obviously, Detroit's doing a whole bunch of stuff with very limited pieces. A lot of guys have been stepping up in recent weeks. Za'Darius Smith is playing against his former team in Green Bay. But I anticipate both teams to have really good running games and good quarterback play. I don't think it's going to be a shootout, but I do think the final score will be something along the lines of like 31-27, 34-28, something like that. I think both teams are going to sniff 30. And in a football game like this, turnovers or no turnovers, I do think there's something to be said with first to 30. The first to 30 will probably win this football game. And I'm starting Jared Goff tonight. I'm starting Sam Laporta. I'm 5-8 in fantasy football. Some way, somehow, if I win, I'm in the fantasy playoffs. So kind of weird. I love the Green Bay Packers. I also very much I do have a love for the Detroit Lions because most of my dad's side of the family is from that area. Used to go to a bunch of games, like we say in these videos. And, if there's a team I really do not mind losing to, it is Detroit. I wasn't too pissed off in that first matchup because my Lions fans treat me very well on this channel and Will Upton. But I think it wasn't prime time for some weird reason. I think that was I live in Florida now, but it was like 4:25 game. So I had some time to simmer, but now it's primetime football. It's Thursday night football. There's huge implications, man, for both teams. This is going to be the game of the year. We said this in their first matchup. It was game of the year. Well, this one covers it. This is game of the year. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Thank you so much to all my Lions fans supporting this, even though I am, unfortunately for you guys, a cheesehead, or in this case, probably me, because Detroit is 11-1. But hit that like button, hit that sub button. We'll definitely get a victory recap for whoever wins. Sorry if it's the Packers. That's it. Give me a game prediction score down below, and we'll catch you guys later today. Peace.